Welcome to the demo explaining how to notify tasks. In the original system, task notification is done from many standalone consoles situated on the shop floor called the Work Center console. However, in the evaluation version, the Work Center console functionality is bundled up in the JSW itself and is directly accessed from the Gantt chart view by right-clicking on any Work Center name and selecting the Notification Area menu option. A pop-up message is flashed to confirm current system time. Press Yes to continue. Click on the Work in Progress menu and press All to see all the tasks currently allotted for execution in the factory. We expect every task allotted by the scheduling engine to be acknowledged by the concerned operator before proceeding with execution. In all likelihood, an allotted task is completed successfully. However, there could be situations when task execution may not proceed as expected. Operator has several options to deal with such contingencies as would be explained ahead. Let us select a task for execution and subsequent notification. Double-click on die cutting task allotted for execution. On die cutting, press 2. For freshly allotted tasks, a pop-up window appears requesting the operator to acknowledge allocation of this task for execution. Else, one sees a window with 5 tab sheets titled Information, Input Status, Progression, Feedback, Completion in the logical order in which actual task execution would take place. Information tab displays all information about the task in question. All fields are self-explanatory. Let us click on Input Status tab sheet, which will display all those components which are required to do the task. This tab is used to notify that all required components are available to execute the task. Operator can confirm input component availability by checking the arrived checkboxes anytime, but certainly before finally declaring the task as complete. Tab sheet progression tabulates the milestones one encounters while producing each output component as the task progresses. Start of production and finish are common endpoints for all output components produced. Additionally, one can have many more milestones in between depending upon how the task was defined. Since progression stages are mentioned in the order of creation of each output component, skipping any checkbox in between is not permitted. So, if you click on the Finish checkbox straight away, the system will automatically assume production of the set output component has already started. When dealing with long-running tasks, these two events, start of production and finished production, would occur with a substantial time gap. Being a real-time system, it is necessary to track events as they occur. Submitting interim stage reach status thus keeps the scheduling engine synchronized with real situation on the shop floor. Press Submit button to continue. In case one declares the component production is finished without having updated the good count produced in the completion tab, an error message is displayed, and the completion tab is automatically displayed to enable one to fill the good count for the output component. It is also possible to ask relevant questions and send task-specific instructions to the operator concerning the task being executed. Operators are expected to post answers to these questions using functionality offered by the Feedback tab. However, this functionality is not so important in the evaluation version, so can be skipped. We now turn our attention to the completion tab page. This page allows one to fill in the actual figures for wastages and costs incurred while executing the task, as well as the good count of the output component produced. Please note, good count is what is required to be given over to the next value-adding task in the CT diagram flow, and not what is the extent of the final product one seeks to produce. Actual good count figures can be expected to vary within a range calculated while the job is defined based on what is the variation allowed in final product extent and wastages one would incur from this point onwards in the value-adding chain. Most often, we expect good count actually produced to fall within the allowed range. However, one cannot ignore contingencies that may occur in real life. So, in addition to normal completion of a task, see Task Action Group box, we have 4 more possibilities mentioned. We explain each in brief. Rollback. After having acknowledged the task, the operator may conclude it is not possible to execute the allotted task right away. In such a situation, operator can request the allotted task be rolled back. However, the same task may be allotted again after some specific duration of time. A point to be noted is that decision to roll back can be taken only before actual production of output component begins, meaning operator has not yet clicked the submitted production started stage for any output component in the progression tab. Reallot. In case the operator begins producing output component but later realizes it is not possible to complete the desired good count, then one can use the reallot option. In effect, one tells the scheduling engine that part of the desired output is created and the remaining, however, will be done later after a specified time period either by me, the same work center, or someone else, other work center, or any work center including my work center. Terminate option. Terminate task happens when the operator declares it is impossible to ever create the necessary good count extent. Generally, such an eventuality occurs when input components to the task are damaged or destroyed. A bad situation to deal with, as the value-adding process stops at this stage until the shortfall in input components is not made good by redoing all that was done until this stage in the value-adding process. Terminating a task will force a suspension of all tasks of the job requiring the output component in short supply until the workflow is amended by taking out a stamped JDF and resubmitting it back to the scheduling engine to make good the shortfall. We do not expect such bad situations to happen in the evaluation version anyway. Pause and pause. Operator may desire pausing task execution temporarily in order to resume it later. Pausing a task is not an error condition except for the fact that it delays completion, and the operator may wish to justify this delay by assigning a valid reason. Any situation except for normal task completion is handled by a separate button positioned in the middle of the 3 buttons to the left below the tab pages. Caption of the button automatically changes to the action one desires to take. Clicking this button will force operator to enter necessary details for the abnormal action he wishes to take. The options one needs to enter are self-explanatory, and the passwords required for taking such abnormal action is set to LIPS, all in small case. It is only when one wishes to reallot or terminate a task that one is required to fill in how much good count is produced. Obviously, this figure would always be less than the desired good count range expected. One is also required to specify reasons for any abnormal task action taken. It is possible to predefine standard reasons in advance or specify a non-standard reason in the other reason text box. However, for evaluation version, we have disabled other reasons and put in sample reasons for each task action one could possibly take. Thank you.